All right, here we are. I'm Shelley Irwin, and you are attending another edition of our Rotary Unplugged. We interview guests on behalf of our Rotary of Grand Rapids, guests who are Rotarians who, well, have a passion for why they joined. Of course, we ask that as well. So honored to bring you in, Claire Horlings, mover and shaker in our club and in the community. Hi, Claire.
Hi, how are you, Shelley?
I'm doing fine. What an opportunity to dig into the mind of certainly Rotarians like you and more. So I'll be blunt with the first question. How did you get to know Rotary?
Yes, so in December of 2018, so just a tad over 6 years ago, I joined and was actually taking the place of my boss, who at that time just decided too busy to continue to have that in his schedule. It was when I was at Kent District Library, and I really did not know anyone within the club, but dove in, and it's just been a fantastic ride ever since.
Yes, you're involved obviously in community engagement and bringing in many guests. Seeing you at Club 77. What drives you to attend and multitask, which is the opportunity given? Yeah.
Yeah, great question. You know what? I think of our club, Shelley, as a second family, and I think that that is something very special. It's something that I don't think you find necessarily in every kind of, club or organization that you join outside of the workplace. And I have found that going to the luncheons regularly, attending Club 77 has been such a great way to build relationships, to expand my network, and and those things are take time to cultivate. But our club is such a welcoming place, and I've had so many people come up to me, including new members and guests, who have said, everyone here has made me feel so welcome and invited, and that is what I believe we are about. And I love that I get to be part of that. And being connected to my what I call my Rotary family has just had so many benefits. And one of them that I'm so grateful for is being mentored by other women, including yourself, who have had a variety of life experiences and have been willing to share your wisdom and tips on how to navigate certain situations, and doing life together. So yes, it's been fantastic.
There's a new subcommittee that brings the women together. I think the men
Yes,
too. I think they're
yes,
out smoking
yes.
cigars somewhere, but
Right. Yes. Yeah. The community engagement team made up of men and women from different professions and different walks of life. And that has been a real strength of our club as we've seen the number of engagements increase over time, and that there's really something for everyone.
yes. So this service, this giving back, talk to me a little bit about the inner part of you or your growing up, how this fits into your life.
Sure. So I would say that having been raised in a family, my parents were actually, for most of their careers, middle school principals. So they were in public facing, public serving positions, and had a very powerful impact on my life because I saw how much they invested in their communities through their work. Having a staff of teachers, having families, students that they care deeply about. And so that was an incredible role model for me. And I would say, too, that another significant life-changing impact on my life that has informed my sense of advocacy is having children. It's one of those things that you don't know going into becoming a parent, but without a doubt, when I realized that I was going to have to step up as a parent to advocate on behalf of my child, no one else was going to do it. And so it's something that's a powerful life lesson, and it began to open the pathway, if you will, of my understanding of the power of advocacy, whether it's for your family, whether it's for those in our community that don't have a voice, and that we as individuals can make an important difference if we dedicate the time and we give of ourselves, because we believe in something greater than ourselves, and that we each can make that difference. Doesn't matter who you are, what your sphere of influence is, we each have that ability to do so. And so that's what I've carried with me. More recent years. So initially, a lot of the volunteerism that I was involved with was revolved around my kids' school district and being involved in PTO, and serving the district on some different committees that I was asked to be part of. volunteering at my church for many years as a middle school small group leader. And then in more recent years, I joined the board of West Michigan Asian American Association back in 2021 and was first board vice president, then ascended into the president role, which I did for a year. And I'm now completing my 4th year on the board as a regular board member. And that has been an incredible opportunity to better learn the issues, especially healthcare disparities impacting many people in our local Asian community. And also it has really helped me to take so much pride in the diverse representation of multiple ethnicities and the cultural richness that is reflected in our Asian community here in West Michigan. And then I was elected to the board of directors for our Rotary Club last year. So honored to have been allowed to do that. And prior to that, served 1 year completing someone else's term as board secretary. So, and as you know, I'm involved with the community engagement team and serve on the Service Above Self dinner gala committee as well.
Oh, good. One day you'll be president.
We'll see about that.
Here we are. I'm going to go into our 5 fun facts and then back to why you joined Rotary. You're left-handed, so is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, does that bring challenges? Does it bring uniqueness? Because you're in your right mind, as I am. Yes.
There we go. That's right. You get it. Then we are in that special club, right? Yeah. You know, I think like anything that we are born with, if you will, we don't know any differently. I do have some memories of being in elementary school, date myself a little bit when I say this, where we were given right-handed scissors. I don't know if you had that experience, and trying to make that work in my left hand. But otherwise, I just kind of went with the flow. And probably like a lot of lefties, I'm somewhat ambidextrous because, you know, door handles are on the right. Notebook binders, you know, are on the left. And so I think you just adapt. And I don't see it as a handicap. I kind of see it as something special. And interestingly enough, 2 of my 3 kids are left-handed. So go figure. I know. So.
And there's a left-handed, I think, day.
Yes, there is. Yes. Yep.
Claire, would you share your story as a Korean adoptee?
Oh, okay, sure. And I'll try to keep it brief because I could go down a whole rabbit trail with that. I was adopted from South Korea at the age of 3. So my adoptive parents actually lived overseas in Japan initially, loved living overseas, and decided to then take up positions as civilian contractors for the Department of Defense in South Korea. They lived on the U.S. military base there, and they just felt inspired, if you will, to adopt a child. No one else in their families had ever done that, and they ended up going to an orphanage located in Incheon, which is southwest of Seoul, and they walked through the doors of an orphanage, and all the children were lined up. From what I've been told, because I don't have a recollection of that. And I was one of the younger children, so they put me out in front, and my parents said they saw me, and I had this big smile on my face, and they said, "We just fell in love with you in that moment." And so I consider it to be one of the greatest blessings of my life. I think too that because I then went on to become a naturalized citizen at the age of 10, I have kind of a unique perspective about what citizenship means. I'm a very proud American, and I'm proud of the incredible diversity of our nation, the story of our nation, that we all are part of that evolving American story. And being an adopted person brings a unique perspective. And I believe too, an ability to relate to people from many walks of life, but it's informed by a deep gratitude. I went back to Korea 25 years ago and met 2 biological siblings. So it was sort of like coming full circle, but there were some unexpected surprises from that trip, as it would be for anyone returning to their birthplace, completely different culture, language. And what it affirmed for me is that I am through and through an American, and that where I belong is truly where I've been raised. And it took going back to Korea to better understand that, but also, again, reinforce the appreciation that my birth mother loved me enough to want to give me a better life. And for that, I'll always be grateful.
Thanks for sharing, Claire. All right, now you're a cook. Tell me about your sourdough bread and this
Yes.
probiotic liquid we are to drink.
Yes, kombucha. So, yes, so I have gone down that path of becoming a baker of sourdough bread. I had bought some from someone in my community, and our family loves it. And so I thought, well, why am I paying someone else to make it? I'm going to attempt to make it. But fermentation process, which is in sourdough bread, is not foreign to me. Like I mentioned before, about 8 years ago, I decided to produce kombucha commercially. So I was renting space at the downtown market and was making oak barrel brewed kombucha, which is a probiotic beverage. And it's really good for you. It's very common nowadays, but back then it was something a little bit newer to the Grand Rapids scene. And it actually has its origins in Korea. So I thought this is, this was meant to be. It was serendipitous. And so, yes, I am still learning how to perfect this sourdough loaf, but having a lot of fun doing it.
But drop by an example. How's that?
You bet.
Claire, you are an avid reader of historical fiction. Recommend a book to me.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I love Ken Follett. I read Pillars of the Earth in my 20s and was just blown away by the level of research and detail. I think Ken Follett is an extraordinary author. I also love historical Christian fiction. I highly recommend, if that's a genre that you're interested in, looking up Francine Rivers. She is an extraordinary author, and her own personal journey of faith is inspiring. Mark of the Lion is, I think, one of her best series. So just fantastic storyline of what happened to the Jewish people many centuries ago when the Roman Empire decimated them, and it follows the story of a young woman and what she did to survive, and how her faith transformed the lives of people around her.
Thanks for that. All right, back to Rotary. If someone is interested in joining, what gets me across the line to make the call to enter our Kent Country Club? How do you make this happen?
Sure. Well, so I think a great starting point is that if someone has not been a guest, I immediately say, hey, please be my guest. Doesn't cost you anything. We would love to introduce you to our Rotary Club family. And I very often use that term, and people are like, oh, that's interesting. So having them be a guest and having that time on the front end to do a little bit of networking, making introductions. Sometimes guests will already know people in the club, but sometimes they don't. And I think it's just a great way to give them a firsthand experience of what that dynamic looks like, having a chance to have fellowship together over a meal, and then listening to the fantastic lineup of speakers that we always have. And that, I think, typically leads to a strong interest in then pursuing that membership. And then we've got a great membership committee, and they are just really on top of it with making sure that they're doing follow-ups. Josh Norman, our outstanding executive director, he is helpful too in guiding the process for that applicant, and so that we can, get them onboarded, if you will, into our club, and then get them engaged as soon as possible in one of our great committees, or one or more great committees.
Asked to sit next to Claire Horlings, and you'll sign up that day. Future of Rotary safe, you think?
Absolutely. I think, it does sound like a bit of a cliche, but I think our future is very bright. Why do I say that? Because, Shelley, I've seen over the past 6 years so much dynamic growth in our club. I have seen that our membership grow. It's grown in the diverse representation. We've got more young professionals joining. We have more representation from a variety of business sectors and nonprofits. And we've seen more women serving as club presidents, and that's an inspiration to all of us. So I think if we continue to be people of action, as we so often talk about, and we live out our motto of service above self, we are going to continue to be a thriving club.
You're so inspirational. Thank you, Claire Horlings. Keep up the great work.
Shelley.
Yep.
Thank you.
J.R. Muller is our executive producer. We bring you on, sir.
All right. Thanks again for both of you spending your time with us here this morning on GR Rotary Unplugged. You can find this episode and every episode right here at grrotary.org/unplug, or just visit the Rotary site. You can also catch us on the Apple Podcast app as well. Just do a search for Grand Rapids Rotary Unplugged, and you'll find it there too. So appreciate both your time again today, and have an awesome weekend.
Thank you.